Yeah. Like they're able-bodied instructors, and then someone comes in a wheelchair or they have a prosthetic, and it's like they really have to think outside the box
Yep.
to come up with ways to help them.
Yep.
Um,
To
the
me, the
best
big thing that I would tell people, oh, not to interrupt, sorry about
No,
interrupting,
no,
but
no, no. I'm here for you, man.
the big thing that I would tell those instructors, the main thing is like try to get the basics down of the like let's see what you can do and then work from there. Because if you try to figure that stuff out before you're actually working with them, you might end up just imagining a bunch of dead ends. So you really just kind of have to go by the seat of your pants when it comes to that. It's like, all right, can you hold the gun? Like step one, can you hold it? All right, this is what your grip is. All right, can you hold it up high enough? If they can't hold it up in front of their face to look down the sights, let's put a laser on it. See if you can hold it down lower and use a laser. So you won't know those things until you get in there with them and start figuring it out. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, Sometimes we go to, schools or we hear about other stuff where there's like I don't want to call it dogma, but there's these things. There are these teachings that folks will have that, like for instance, lasers, for example, right? Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, lasers suck and you should never use lasers. And until someone walks in and, getting using their iron sights is a problem.
yep,
Or, like you're using an optic is a problem. So,
yeah.
that
Have
might
you
be a way
ever
for
had
us.
to train someone how to use a laser? Have you ever messed with a laser to figure out the best way to use it so that if someone comes in, you can teach them like, well, this is what I figured out.
Man, that's awesome stuff. That's awesome stuff. So I think we touched on something earlier tonight. Like, hey, you're gonna come in with the wrong gun. You're gonna you may not have the right holster. Um, I feel like that's a message that doesn't get out enough, Like, I mean, like I'll tell you about my first gun. My first gun, well, back in the Marine Corps, I had a Beretta, but when I first got out, I had an M&P. But you know, it took me a long time for me to realize that didn't work for me. And then I went to a gun show and I bought a JA9. You ever heard of one of those? Yeah, like Jimenez
Jericho,
Arms.
does Jericho make that? Who makes that?
No, it's a Jimenez Arms. It looks like it was
Jimenez.
made of hot
Okay, I
metal.
know. Yeah, I know Jimenez.
Yeah, it's it was like it was at a gun show. It was $125 brand new in the box, and I never even got to shoot it. I took the slide off so that I could see how it worked, and usually
Mhm.
you could press the trigger so that the trigger bar moves, but some pin popped out. I put it back in, it locked up the gun, and I think like a year later, I ended up like selling it to a gunsmith for $25.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's usually where those end up.
so if
Those are
someone
learning moments, though. You don't know that until you experience it, or someone else tells you.
yeah. So I hear about like, oh well, Taurus is garbage, XD is garbage, and all these other bad guns out there. I mean, guys, I'm just over it. I mean, like, bring your Taurus to class, okay? Bring your XD to class. So
Yeah, I see all sorts of guns come in. Skies with giant heavy triggers that she bought because it was purple. So,
yeah,
and then what? Okay, let's learn to shoot it. Like that's all we can do. I don't see the point in wasting time berating them about what gun they brought. It's like, all right, this is how you grip it. This is how you shoot it. They'll figure it out. They'll be like, man, I don't like shooting this. Like they figure it out pretty quick. So, and then they go get something that works for them. So, because now they have knowledge. Now they know, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Because if you teach them how to shoot their gun, then when they go look for a new gun, they know what to look for. So,
man, that makes a lot of sense. So
yeah.
so you're teaching classes. I think probably one more thing before we get out of here. Like, what about firearms instruction and working with people? What about that are you passionate about?
I just like seeing that eureka moment on people's faces when they're like, "Oh, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be," or like, or the big one is like people just afraid of their gun. They're like, "Hey, I got this thing going on in my life. I think I need it." Especially here in Memphis, it's like I need protection. I get a lot of that. A lot of my private lessons come through. They're like, "I have this going on in my life, and I think I need protection." And it's like, all right, let's see what we got, and let's work through this. And seeing that eureka moment when they're like, oh, this isn't that bad, and then they get my passion kind of bleeds off onto them, and then I see their gears start working in their head, and I see them come back for more private lessons and more classes and stuff, and I see them get into it, and I see them taking it seriously. And I try not to overwhelm people too much, like, because I know a lot of times they'll get it, like, you'll go see a certain person and they'll be like, oh, well, you'll never be able to defend yourself with that, like, you'll never be able to do this, and like they just worry them. Like, oh, that 22 is not going to stop anybody, you might as well just not have a gun. Then they get all worried and paranoid, and then it's like, well, I would rather them have something than nothing, and we're going to work through this, and it's a journey that we're going to go on together. And so when I see those type of people that are beginning their journey, it's like, them, let me take them on that journey so I don't want to push them away from it or give them the wrong idea. I want to nurture their interest and then point them in the right direction. And so like that's what makes me sleep well at night, is knowing that I help those people.
Folks, I want to give a very special thank you to the Top Gun Shooting Range in Memphis, Tennessee. This is where I teach personally. We hold permit classes, introductory courses, and advanced handgun self defense courses. You can also rent guns to shoot on the range, including fully automatic machine guns. Also, in pure Memphis fashion, there's a barbecue restaurant in the building. Top Gun Memphis has 4.9 stars on Google reviews, so if you're in the area, come by and see us. Go to topgunmemphis.com for more info.